I'm going to say something that just might surprise some people. Solo travel often gets better with age. Not riskier, not lonelier, but better. Over time and over many solo trips, I've discovered that traveling alone in my 60s or 70s can be richer, easier, and more rewarding than it was even when I was younger. What I'd like to share today isn't theory, it's just what I've lived and learned along the way. One of the best things about traveling solo at this stage in life is being able to slow down a bit. I'm not chasing anyone else's checklist. There's no pressure to squeeze 10 things into a day or rush from one cathedral to the next because someone else is bored or the group leader is trying to work it in before lunch. And I never have to hang around outside a souvenir shop that the bus has dropped me off at, wondering how long I'm expected to feign interest. Now, when I travel, I usually plan just one or two things a day: a market, a hike, a museum, or a ferry ride. And I leave space for the unexpected. And that's where the real pleasure lives: a chat with someone at a cafe, a detour to a local festival, or just sitting somewhere beautiful without keeping an eye on the time. Last year, when I was in Milan, I was early for a train to Lake Como at the Centrale train station. So I sat on a low wall that was outside the station. A man in his 30s was beside me, listening to some music on his phone. I really liked what I was hearing, and I asked him about it. Turns out it was a Tunisian rapper named Samara. He played me another couple of tracks and airdropped me a playlist. I still have it on my phone, and every time I listen to it, I'm transported right back to that sunny afternoon in Milan. Traveling with others can be wonderful, but let's be honest, it can also be noisy: conversation, compromise, comparison, and sometimes even competition. When I'm on my own, I start to notice the details again: the way a street vendor arranges her stall, the rhythm of an unfamiliar language, the way the light shifts on an old stone wall at sunset. There's something about solitude, especially as I get older, that sharpens my awareness. I see more now than I ever did before. I also enjoy photographing what I see, usually with my iPhone. Slowing down to find the right angle or to play with color and framing brings out my creative side. It helps me engage with what's around me, and those photos become memories that I can return to again and again. And since I'm traveling solo, I never have to explain why I want to spend an hour exploring a quiet historical site, or skip a guided tour, or stop along a trail to photograph wildflowers or mushrooms. I follow my own curiosity. No compromises, no explanations needed. I make the trip mine. And that kind of freedom is something I didn't know I was missing until I had it. There's a common idea that the appetite for learning fades with age. Well, it certainly hasn't been true for me. In fact, I've probably learned more through travel in the past few years than I did in some of my formal education. I figured out how to buy a train ticket in a language that I don't speak. I've navigated unfamiliar cities even without the help of Google Maps. And maybe most important, I've learned how to stay calm when things go sideways. It's humbling sometimes, it's often invigorating, and it reminds me that I'm still capable of adapting, learning, and growing. There are moments when solo travel still feels a bit daunting. Even now, I get a little flutter of nerves stepping off a plane in a new country. But every time I figure out how to get from the airport to my accommodation or ask for help and get it, my confidence gets a little stronger. I've come to understand it's not about being fearless, it's about being willing to keep going calmly, quietly, and realizing I can handle this. It also helps that I plan ahead. The more I've prepared, the fewer surprises I run into, and the smoother the transition into a new place becomes. For me, research is essential. The more I know before I go, the more relaxed and confident I feel when I get there. One of the things that I've come to appreciate is how solo travelers are often more approachable and more open to encounters. I've had some wonderful conversations with strangers over the past 5 years, on trains, in parks, or at shared tables. People are curious, friendly, and often happy to talk if I just smile or ask a question. I try to be open too. A quick hello, a comment on the weather, or a question about something local can lead to a real exchange. And that sense of spontaneous connection is one of the joys of traveling alone. At this stage of life, travel needs to be sustainable. And when I'm solo, I can build in rest whenever I need it without feeling guilty or holding anyone else up. If my legs need a break or jet lag is making itself known, I can take the afternoon off and do absolutely nothing. And that's fine. No one's waiting on me. I always make space for quiet days in my itinerary. I'm not out to prove anything. I'm out to enjoy myself. There's no age limit on adventure. Solo travel after 60 doesn't have to be bold or reckless. For me, it's about staying open to beauty, open to challenge, open to learning, laughing, and discovering again and again what I'm still capable of. And if you've been thinking about taking that first solo trip, don't wait. There's no need to ask for permission. It's never too late to go. If you'd like more practical tips on planning a solo itinerary or choosing accommodations that feel safe and comfortable, subscribe to the channel. And if you've already started traveling solo, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What have you discovered along the way? Safe travels. See you next time.